The radiant Marie Curie,
breaking the barriers obscuring radioactive elements.
Timothy Reyna.
Michael Salazar.
Laura Hayana.
Leo Perigili.
Oh my god. You got a 73 on the test? Oh my gosh, girls are so dumb.
Mr. Fisher, I think there was an issue with my score.
Quit whining, Becky. We don't know girls can't do math or science.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Becky. It looks like I skipped a page. You got a 94. I'll fix that in the grade right away. And that's enough out of you, Billy. You can't be more wrong about the capabilities of women in math and science.
But all the scientists we ever learn about are men. Einstein, Heisenberg, Avogadro, Mendeleev.
What about Rosalind Franklin?
Wherever she is, she's only one.
Her work led to the discovery of the double helix structure of DNA. And here's another, Marie Curie.
I love Marie Curie. She broke so many barriers as a woman, as a Pole, and as a scientist.
Listen here, Billy. Maybe we can show you how sexist and an unfair barrier women have always had to face. It all started in what we call Poland today. Marie was born.
Hey Marie, this looks pretty good. You know, you're becoming quite advanced in your studies.
I want to be smart, just like Zosha, and teach my children, just like you, Papa. Why does Zosha have to leave?
There just isn't any work here for people like us. We do not have enough food for everyone. So Zosha is going to Paris where there are less barriers for us Poles.
Zosha can have my food. I don't want to go.
I don't either, but we can't have you getting sick from malnourishment. Despite the rise in underground Polish national government in 1863, the much smaller Russian population dominated positions of authority and monopolized wealth so much that the native Polish population faced economic barriers that left many of them victimized by poor health and discriminatory laws. 4 years later, she would face a different kind of barrier, misogyny.
Gentlemen, have you completed the next class of applicants?
No, sir, we have not. We seem to be in disagreement over the last spot.
We have this brilliant applicant who won the gold medal in academics at the Flying University, and this other one, Mr. Nowak, who seems utterly unspectacular, but would otherwise be fine.
Brilliant and unspectacular doesn't seem too hard.
But she is a woman. The University of Warsaw can't be known for admitting a woman.
No, it can't be.
Couldn't we make an exception based on her talent, though?
And have our university become the subject of ridicule? I'm afraid not. Welcome to Warsaw, Mr. Unspectacular.
Facing an insurmountable barrier to an education in Poland, Marie would follow her sister Zosha to France, where she would study at the University of Paris. Breaking this educational barrier would have profound professional and personal impacts upon young Marie.
Monsieur Curie? Bonjour. I'm Marie Soloska. I was wondering if you'd be willing to discuss my findings on the various magnetic properties of steel compositions with me.
Oh, well, you have work to show. How can I know?
I can assure you, even though I'm a woman, I'm very well versed in this topic.
Oh, I see. Well, we can't exactly...
Everyone always tells me to go find a nice man to marry and be sure to give him children.
That's preposterous. What I was trying to say is that we can't let a silly little thing like being a woman get in the way of scientific discovery.
Oh.
Can we?
My apologies. There's so many barriers to put in front of me that I just always assume that everybody's against women.
No need to apologize. Let's not speak of this again. Now, what were you saying about magnetism?
Well, I found this alloy of copper and iron, and due to copper's diamagnetic properties,
Over time, the magnetism between myself and Marie became more than metal alloys. First a student wanting to use my lab, then a trusted friend and colleague who shared my passion for learning and discovery. I became smitten with Marie Soloska. Marie, I can't imagine a future brighter than one where we're married.
Pierre, I'm so genuinely fond of you, but I can't marry you. I'm returning to Warsaw.
This lab is nothing to me, Marie. I will give it all up to be with you, even after I teach French to the Polish. I love you and will do anything to be by your side.
I won't allow it. I won't let you give up your studies. Despite my best efforts, I went to Poland only to return after being rejected from the University of Krakow. Pierre and I married, had 2 beautiful daughters, and continued our research. Did you get the uranium from the lab?
Yes, I have it here. 2,000 grams of pitch pendant calculate, just like you asked. Now, we can get more once the sample runs out, but remind me again why we need so much. It seems that my work with crystals is so much simpler.
Well, I noticed that when you isolate the uranium, that the leftover substance is still radioactive, and I'm not sure why. There just has to be something else with the pitch pendant calculate. If we can just isolate the components,
You
then
do realize that there are over 30 different elements in pitch pendant alone. How do you propose we do this?
carefully and very slow. My work was so promising that Pierre left his research with crystals to join me in my research with radioactive uranium cores.
It took 3 painstaking years to isolate 1/10 of 1 gram of radium chloride, but we finally did it.
It took 7,000 pounds of ore to produce 1 gram of radium, a bigger lab to process the materials, and private industry funding from selling radium salts. But we finally broke the barrier that kept the world from knowing of 2 new radioactive elements.
Radium, for the energy emanating from the metal in rays.
And polonium, from my native Poland.
Okay, gentlemen, it's settled then. Randall Creamer for peace, and Neil Robert Fisson for the prize in physiology or medicine.
We still haven't decided the physics award. In 1898, Marie and Pierre Curie had published their work regarding radium and polonium to grand reception. Their work in discovering the physical properties of 2 new chemical elements on the periodic table should have been a slam dunk, except for one little issue.
Of course we haven't. Your insistence that we give Marie partial credit for her husband's work is preposterous. Woman, sir, can't participate in science any more than a man can nurse a baby.
Whoa, gentlemen, let's be civil. The French Academy of Science has already nominated Henry Becquerel and Pierre Curie for the Nobel Prize in Physics.
Their work is outstanding and deserves to be recognized. Publication of Marie and Pierre's barrier-breaking work led to an industry of miracle drugs, centered around radium's radioactive nature. While the Curies didn't profit from the resulting financial boom, they weren't responsible for the health crash that resulted from an improper standing of the new element.
Their persistence in ignoring the contributions of Marie Curie left me no choice. I wrote to Pierre in regards to the matter, and I have here his response. Dear sirs,
I am ready to express my displeasure at your denial of a Nobel Prize for my wife Marie. I can assure you that her contributions to this work are incalculable.
In 1903, the insistence of committee member Magnus Goistad Maytag Leffler and Pierre's concern that Marie be recognized led the Nobel Committee to split the physics prize between Henry Becquerel and Pierre and his better half. Marie's award may have broken a barrier for women, but discrimination and hostility against women in science would continue as Rosalind Franklin was overlooked for her discovery of the double helix structure of DNA.
Bonjour, Madame Curie. I regret to inform you that your husband Pierre was struck and killed by a carriage while crossing Rue Dauphine. He was killed instantly. I'm so sorry.
Oh, Pierre, love of my life, father to our beautiful daughters, I'm to be lost without you.
Marie, my brother loved you more than life itself. He would not want to see you like this. You need to compose yourself.
Jacques, what are you saying? I am a woman working in a man's field. Just what is it you're suggesting I do?
Why, yours and Pierre's work, of course. You can't let society's barriers stop you now. You've already proven yourself 1,000 times over. You need to worry about what others think. I'm sure you will continue to do great work. Marie would continue to break barriers when she took over Pierre's position at the Sorbonne University, thus becoming the university's first female professor. Her work would continue when she received a grant from the university to start the Radium Institute.
Your application for inclusion in the French Academy in Sciences is rejected. Women can simply not be part of the Institute of France. Sexism was a barrier that Marie confronted for the entirety of her life. Her rejection for the French Academy of Sciences by merely 2 votes continues to be an embarrassment because she refused to have her name reconsidered.
A few months later, in 1911, I broke another barrier by being the first person, male or female, to win a second Nobel Prize, this time in chemistry for my work in radioactivity and for discovering radium and polonium. Despite the Nobel Prize, I was still confronted with barriers by being a woman in science. It was almost like I'd have to give my name and I'd have to give my life in the name of science, to become a respected colleague and peer.
So as you can see, Billy, Marie was an outstanding scientist, unrivaled in her lifetime and ours.
What happened to her after she won her second Nobel Prize?
She led her institute into her death by radiation poisoning.
She died from the stuff?
Sadly, yes. Nobody knew the effects of prolonged radiation exposure.
Marie's contributions to the discovery of radium and polonium makes her one of only 4 people to have ever won a second Nobel Prize.
Marie's exclusion from the French Academy of Science was almost as much due to her Polish heritage as it was her womanhood.
My whole life was spent facing the barriers put up in front of me by Russians, sexist university policies, and misogynistic scientists. Nothing kept me from breaking through.
Marie Curie. Was a Polish hero.
Is an inspiration to working women everywhere.
Was everything she set her mind to be.
Was a loving wife and mother to 1934 chemistry professor Juliette Curie.
Was and is a very breaking scientist.
Marie Curie was a woman.